Hi, welcome to Missouri Athletic Club Connections, a podcast highlighting the foremost private club in St. Louis, known for attracting exceptional people and enriching lives for generations. I'm Monica Ryan, MAC Communications Strategist, and today is Wednesday, April 12th. There's lots of excitement here at the MAC for the USBWA College Basketball Awards. Right now we're on the 5th floor on the basketball court. We're going to get some one-on-ones with the players and coaches being honored tonight, and then keep listening as we'll bring you into the Missouri room for the award ceremony with featured speaker, basketball legend, Bill Walton. Tanaya Latson of Florida State joining me now, everybody. She is USBWA's Female Freshman of the Year, Tamika Catchings Award. Tanaya, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
How does it feel to be the Freshman of the Year?
It feels amazing. I mean, it's a blessing, and I feel like everyone coming into college want to experience things like this, and I'm just blessed to be here and then experience this.
And you're from Florida. Did you grow up a Seminoles fan?
No, not really. I mean, FSU just stole my heart. They were my first unofficial visit, so ever since then I knew I was going to FSU.
Gotcha. You were the ACC Rookie of the Week 10 times. Did you even notice after a while, like, was there any week that was sweeter than the others?
I would say in the beginning of the season, definitely. But, I mean, it started to get harder during the season, fatigue and wear and tear. But, I mean, I'm just blessed to be in that position and just, to break records. So, yeah.
What are you looking forward to next season?
Next season, making it deeper in the tournament for sure. Just becoming a better all-around basketball player, getting my teammates involved, and just building that chemistry and building something special at Florida State.
Now, we like to do some speed questions around here, like one-word answers. Are you ready?
Okay.
Favorite teammate?
Amaria.
Favorite venue to play in?
I would have to say UVA's gym. Their gym was really nice.
Offense or defense?
Since college, offense.
Favorite social media platform?
Instagram.
Favorite pump-up song?
Pump-up song, Humble by Lil Baby.
Favorite post-win meal?
Chick-fil-A.
All right, well, we don't have Chick-fil-A for you tonight, but thank you so much for your time, Tanaya. Congrats again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Enjoy your night.
Thank you.
Coach Mike Brey, thanks so much for sitting down with me. You're winning the Good Guy Award tonight. What does it mean to be a good guy? What's some of those qualities?
I'm starting to wonder, does that mean they never caught me cheating? Is that why I got this trophy? I certainly I'm honored, and this is such a first-class event, by the way. This is really cool to be part of. Maybe because I started as a high school coach and teacher, my demeanor with young people comes across I'm a good guy, and you know what, I'll take that.
Yeah, why not? So you were at Notre Dame 23 seasons. What about the Irish kept you coming back all those years?
The kind of young people that we attracted as student athletes, that made me keep coming back. I have 75 young men that have come through and graduated playing under me. That's like 75 sons out there, and they're amazing young men, and I'm so proud of them. And I was so proud to be part of the Notre Dame family and the Notre Dame brand all those years.
Well, by returning year after year, you ended up as the winningest men's basketball coach in school history, 483 wins, something to definitely be proud of. How did you feel when your banner was unveiled in the rafters?
That was really cool to be able to be there long enough to pass Digger Phelps, who was a great coach and, in my opinion, a Hall of Famer for us. It was really, really powerful. And, to be able to last for 23 seasons, which equates to 6 football coaches, by the way. That's how Marcus Freeman is the 6th football coach that I met. So I guess I lasted a while.
You sure did. Finally, Coach, we like to do some speed questions around here. We're looking for a one-word answer. You up for it?
I am. I'm ready to roll.
All right. Favorite pro team?
Hawks, Atlanta Hawks.
Favorite player you've coached?
Let's go with Pat Connaughton.
Most memorable game?
The 2015 ACC championship game where we beat North Carolina.
Favorite arena as a visiting coach?
Cameron Indoor Stadium is all that they talk about.
Favorite coach you've worked with?
Well, I worked under Mike Krzyzewski and Morgan Wooten, and both of those guys are a big part of who I am.
Favorite pump-up song?
Oh, man. God, that's a good one. Let's just say something from the Bee Gees.
Okay.
Oh, boy, I'm really going back in time. Staying alive. That's it.
Favorite post-win meal?
Pizza.
All right. Well, we don't have pizza for you tonight, but enjoy the banquet, and congrats again.
Thank you very much.
USBWA's Player of the Year, winner of the Oscar Robertson Trophy, Purdue's Zach Edey is here. Congrats on a great season, Zach.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're the only player in NCAA history to rank in the top 25 of all 4 stat categories: points, rebounds, blocks, and assists. As a big man, how do you have such a well-rounded game?
I mean, I've never heard that stat before. You're the first one to tell me that.
Oh, really?
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I've worked at it for sure. When I first came, I wasn't able to do all those things. I could kind of score a little bit, but I kind of struggled with rebounding. I struggled with blocking shots, like being a defensive presence. Definitely, I struggled with passing the ball. But I've just worked at it. Every day, coaches. I have a lot of thanks to give to the coaches. They set me up for the right drills. They put me on the right path and really helped me with everything. But it was just work. You just keep working at it.
Absolutely. And you came late to basketball, not starting until you were a sophomore in high school. Can you take us through your journey to Purdue?
I mean, it's an incredible journey. It's a long journey. I'll try to shorten it for you.
Okay.
But kind of started halfway through my 10th grade year. Within half a year of me starting basketball, I moved to America to go to IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. From there, I just worked on improving. Their facilities are top notch. My first first summer at AAU, I got a few offers. I think I got Western Kentucky, and I think I got one other. I forget what it was, but it wasn't anything crazy. Kind of next year, I came back. I went to IMG. After that, next summer I got a little more offers, or that's where I kind of really got most of my offers. I got like Baylor, Purdue, but I'd always kind of said like Purdue and Gonzaga were my 2 schools where it's like,
Yeah.
if they offer me, I'm probably gonna go there. But I was Purdue didn't get into the picture till late with me. I had to basically recruit Purdue a little bit almost.
Yeah.
I always kind of said I wanted to go Purdue. Some of my high school coaches got in contact with the coaches at Purdue, and they kind of talked a little bit about it. Purdue sent a guy down for me. But right before that, I was this close to going to Baylor.
Oh, okay.
I almost came into Baylor on my visit. I really liked the people there. Scott Drew's a great guy. Jerome Tang, he had a great season with Kansas State. But yeah, it was a pretty turbulent recruiting ride for me.
Yeah.
Pretty quick.
Gotcha. Why did you ultimately choose Purdue, though?
There's history with big men. They have, a lot of schools can kind of tell you how they're going to use it. They can say they can promise all this, like, oh, if you come here, we're gonna feed you the post this way. We're gonna give you this much touches. We're gonna use you like this. But Purdue they have film, like they can show you like, oh, we think you're kind of like Isaac Haas, like we're gonna use you like him, or we think you're like AJ Hammonds, we're gonna use you like him, or we think you're like Matt Harms or Caleb Swanigan. Like they've had so many good bigs. And like recently too, like a lot of schools, they can look back 20 years and they'll say, oh, we had a 7-footer that was pretty good. But Purdue could look back last year or 2 seasons ago and they could show you a big man who was really good and that they used really well.
What are you looking forward to next year?
I'm not sure, honestly. I still have to make my decision on next year, so
Yeah.
That kind of throws a little wrench in it. But I'm glad I have nothing but good options in front of me. I really can't mess this decision up because there's only 2 great options in front of me. So I'm really grateful for that.
Awesome. Well, this is a super unique trophy. What does the Oscar Robertson Trophy mean to you?
I mean, it's incredible. It's kind of something that you always hear about. Like one of these awards that's just to be able to put your name next to all these like all-time greats that have won these awards in the past. It's incredible.
All right, so we love some quick hitter questions at the MAC. We're looking for 1-word answers to these. Are you ready? Favorite teammate?
Ethan Morton.
Favorite venue to play in?
Mackey.
Offense or defense?
Offense.
Favorite sport other than basketball?
Baseball.
Favorite social media platform?
TikTok.
Favorite pump-up song?
I don't really got one.
Favorite post-win meal?
And we usually have pizza after the game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, we won't have pizza here tonight for you, but
Yeah.
enjoy the banquet and the award ceremony. Hopefully we get you a good meal.
For sure.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you so much. We have Marquette's coach Shaka Smart with us now. He is the USBWA's Coach of the Year. Congrats, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me, Monica.
Of course. In just your second season with the Golden Eagles, you defied expectations. Your team was picked to finish 9th in the Big East, but then you won the regular season title and tournament championship. How did you keep your team motivated and ignore naysayers?
It was easy to keep our team motivated because people were picking us pretty low, and we have a lot of internally motivated guys. Our focus all year long has been on relationships, growth, and victory, and all the elements of what goes into those three things, and our guys have been really, really dedicated.
Awesome. What does being named Coach of the Year mean to you?
It's a team award. You know, you think about the accomplishments of your team over the course of the season and all the dedication and commitment that both the players and the coaching staff have put into this season. So it's a great acknowledgement of that. At the same time, you know, we always say we would trade any award for just one more win.
Right. What are you looking forward to next season?
Well, honestly, I'm looking forward to the growth opportunities over the course of the next 7 months. This basketball season starts in early November, and we have 7 months to get better, get stronger, get more connected, teach our new guys what goes into success at Marquette, and then come closer together.
What does go into success at Marquette?
Relationships, feeling a level of genuine care and concern for one another, wanting to play and pull for one another in practice and in games. The dedication to growth every day, coming into the practice court, motivated and willing to compete at a high level, and then a willingness to pour into all the details of what goes into winning on a daily basis.
Absolutely. So we have a speed round of questions. We're looking for one-word answers here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Favorite pro team?
Bucks.
Favorite venue you've coached in?
Fiserv Forum.
Favorite player you've coached?
Oh, I can't really give one favorite. Too many to name.
All right. Favorite coach you've worked with?
Ooh, probably Billy Donovan.
Favorite pump-up song?
I like the Rocky IV stuff.
Okay. Favorite post-win meal?
Well, we have a tradition of getting milkshakes on the road after wins, so I'd have to go with that.
That sounds so fun. Well, if you're here a little longer, you could head over to Ted Drew's. That's our ice cream place in St. Louis, and they'll hit it up.
We'd have to come back and get a win for me to do that. That's the only time I'll drink a milkshake is after a win.
I don't know if I can root against SLU with you, so sorry about that. But that's all my questions. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Congrats again.
I'm Bill, and it's great to be here on the Missouri Athletic Club podcast. Sound and visuals, too. I love both.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I'm having a terrific time here at this remarkable facility at Athletic Club and just the community here. And so much of my life can be traced back to St. Louis. So even though I'm not from here
right.
and I don't get here very often, but so many of the forces in my life right here. And we'll start with Lewis and Clark and how they came through here a couple hundred years ago and just really kind of set the stage for what my life has become. And then Red Auerbach, coach of the Hawks up in the Tri-Cities, Bob Pettit, Lenny Wilkins. And then on the Spirit side, you got Moses Malone, Maurice Lucas, Marvin Barnes, Snapper Jones, broadcasting Bob Costas, Jack Buck, Joel Myers, all my buddies, all my friends. And then the times we've had when I have come here. I came here 50 years ago for an NCAA Final Four, and then somehow, some way, Bob Costas and I ended up here on stage at the Fox Theater years ago celebrating something. I forget what it was, but we were celebrating life and the wonders of nature, and it was just fantastic. And to see this incredible building. I didn't have things like this in my life when I was growing up. We had nothing in terms of material possessions or financial opportunities, but I had the greatest childhood ever. I had everything, greatest parents ever, phenomenal schools, phenomenal teachers and coaches, and spectacular teams and everything. And then by grace, I got an athletic scholarship to go to UCLA. And my older brother was already there on an athletic scholarship, and so that really changed everything. But if I had had something like this in my life, I might have been able to do something with my life.
Oh my gosh, you've done plenty.
Well, no, never measure yourself by what you have done, but rather by what you could have or should have been able to do. So many aspects come into the life of trying to become a champion. And I know you're a champion as well. You wouldn't be on this show. You wouldn't be in this position. You wouldn't be a member of this remarkable Missouri Athletic Club. But it takes talent to get to the top. It takes character to stay there. Those who are not willing to risk going too far will never know how far they can go. You'll never learn what you don't want to know. Talk is cheap. Vision is true. When life looks like Easy Street, there's danger at your door, and there are no rewards for settling for something that you don't want. And so I'm driven. I wanted to be great from the start. I grew up in a totally unathletic household. My parents, zero interest in sports. Never played sports with them, never talked sports, never watched sports with them. But I had a great first coach, and I wanted to be great. And I was a top student. Basketball was the easiest thing in my life, but my challenges have been orthopedic health. Spent half my adult life in the hospital, and I've had 39 orthopedic operations. But my biggest challenge is my speech impediment and the fact that I could not speak at all till I was 28 years old. So growing up in a privileged life, I did not know how to play in the game of life. Once I got to the NBA, I couldn't play in the game I loved because my feet were always broken, and they didn't know why. And they didn't believe me that my feet were hurting and broken all the time. And then I could not express myself. So that it was a tough go in many, many ways. But I'm alive. I'm here. I'm madly in love with my wife. And she's just the greatest everything ever. Now, she's not a thing, I know that, but I can't think of a better word. I've been trying. But we are the proud and fortunate, privileged parents of 6 children and 14 grandchildren.
Oh,
and so
that's awesome.
I'm here today to celebrate with all these remarkable people here, to see Zach Edey, who I've been seeing Zach around on the tour of the Player of the Year awards, and Shaka Smart and Mike Brey, and now Tanaya, who is the Freshman of the Year, and all the other awardees, honorees who will be mentioned and highlighted tonight, but they will not be here in person because of previous scheduling conflicts.
Right,
and the sports calendar is very, very full.
Oh yeah.
And people live incredibly engaged lives. But with Dawn Staley and Caitlin Clark and I love women's basketball. I was there at the beginning of Title IX, and one of my teammates, his younger sister, my teammate was Dave Myers. His younger sister, Ann Myers, was the first woman to ever receive an NCAA athletic scholarship.
That is
and
so
she
cool.
she came to UCLA, and she's in every Hall of Fame there is out there. And she's just a wonderful angel. Dave has sadly passed on. And while we played here 50 years ago, 4 of our teammates are gone now. They're passed. Vince Carson, Tommy Curtis, Dave Myers, and Greg Lee. Our coaches passed. And then the guy who put it all together, Denny Crum, who made his Hall of Fame career mark and standards at Louisville, just down the way a bit, he's having a tough go himself. But, we will get by. We will survive. We are alive. And I still have all my body parts, and some of them even work.
Do. Wow.
I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
Yeah, let's talk about tonight. Zach Edey is the recipient of the Oscar Robertson Trophy. You're a 3-time recipient of that award. What are some qualities of an Oscar Robertson winner?
Let's talk about Oscar, who is as great a player as there's ever been. And so one time I was doing a show, and there was a huge audience out in front. And the conversation switched to the greatest players ever. And I was talking about my favorites, Bill Russell and Wilt and Kareem and Larry and Magic and Michael and everybody. And the show was over. And we're walking out, and Bill Russell, who was in the audience, Bill Russell's my favorite player ever. But Bill Russell, he walks up to me, and I'm a couple inches taller than Bill. And so Bill puts his hand on the inside of my elbow and pulls me in so I can't get away. And he leans up and he whispers in my ear, and he says, Walton, if you ever go down that road again, talking about the greatest players ever, and if you ever leave Oscar Robertson out of that conversation, you will forever label yourself as a fraud who knows nothing about anything. And so Oscar was this brilliant player and is widely regarded as as great a player as there's ever been. And forget the statistics, just the way he changed the game. He was big, physical, powerful, incredibly skilled, and dominated basketball. And wherever he went, he set records, and he was generally considered, absolutely one of the greatest players ever, but more importantly as a human being, because while Oscar was about 6'5" and built thick and tough and incredibly athletic and graceful and skilled and poised, it was his humanity that set him apart, and his vision and his brain and his heart, smart as can be and willing to stand up and do what others couldn't or would not do. And so Oscar, who would take no nonsense from anybody. This was a stand-up guy, and he led the Players Association. He was the named plaintiff in the class action lawsuit that brought free agency to the NBA. And free agency in sports has been the single most important development and change in the business of sports. And the second is franchise free agency, and the ability of the franchises to go where they want when the deal gets better. And so that has changed, and that has just sparked incredible interest, and Oscar was the guy that led that. And so many awards are named for Oscar, including the Oscar Robertson Leadership Award, which I have been privileged to win, and to have won now 3 of his Oscar Robertson Player of the Year awards, because he won the very first one back in 1959. And so when Oscar, like every great player, Monica, is really a better human being. I mean, that's kind of the way it works. When you talked about talent and then the importance of character, well, Oscar had all of that, right? And so he was leading the Players Association and fighting for, because Oscar was the greatest, right? But he was not interested in himself. He was interested in the well-being of others coming behind him and underneath him, and so lift everybody else up and inspire and create and build others' lives and empower and enable. And so then one of his daughters got sick, and it was very sad, and she was going to pass away. She was going to die.
Yeah.
And she needed a transplant. And I believe it was a kidney transplant, and she needed a kidney transplant. And Oscar, her dad, said, "You can have mine." And so he went into the hospital and he gave her his kidney.
Wow.
And
what an amazing story.
That's the kind of guy Oscar is. He's still alive. He's into his 80s. So one time.
Cool. Oh, Bill, I'm so sorry. We're actually running short on time.
No way. We can't. This is a podcast.
I know, it is, but we have like a whole award ceremony to get to.
Can I tell one story?
Okay, one last story.
Okay. So I'm at Coach Wooden's house one day out in Los Angeles when he was still alive. He died in 2010, June, but he was totally on top of everything, right? And so the phone never stopped ringing at his house. His wife died. He lived 25 years after his wife passed away. And so the phone never stopped ringing. It was everybody always calling. So the one day we're there, and the phone rings, and it's this sports writer from Indiana, where he's from. And this guy's job was to keep the mythical all-time high school basketball team from Indiana. And people in Indiana, they think that's where life begins.
The Mecca.
Right. That's what they think. Right? And so 3 of the guys have been set forever. John Wooden, Oscar Robertson, and Larry Bird is that 3 of the top 5. There's only 5 guys on the team. And so Coach Wooden, who's always been on the team and very, very confident and very proud, and he was the first great player, and Oscar was Oscar, and Larry's Larry, right? And so this guy calls up, and he starts raving about this new guy named Damon Bailey. Coach Wooden, there's this new guy, Damon Bailey, man. He is so good. He's so great. Bob Knight's been recruiting him since he was in middle school. And John Wooden's rolling his eyes, right? He wants to get off the phone and come back and start talking to us again, right? And so Coach Wooden, this guy never stops talking about Damon Bailey. And so Coach Wooden finally figures out what's going on here. And he says, so he tells the guy, the sports writer on the phone, he says, hold on a second. Let me go across the room and let me get Oscar's phone number, and you can call Oscar up and tell Oscar that he's off the team now.
No.
And then the guy was kind of stunned and said, I got to go. All my players are here. Goodbye. Thank you.
Well, speaking of gotta go, we gotta go.
Monica, you're an angel.
Oh,
thanks for having
you.
me. I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
Oh my gosh, I'm the luckiest person in the world. Thank you so much.
Missouri Athletic Club, yeah, where dreams become reality, where we come to grow, and where the deal goes down.
It's always going down at the MAC. Let's head over to the Missouri room where the award ceremony is getting started.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's a delight to be with so many people who enjoy college basketball. The club is grateful for those who sponsored the awards banquet and who contributed to underwriting the expense that allowed the award winners to join us here this evening. Some are longtime sponsors. For some, it's the first time they've sponsored. I'm going to quickly recognize those sponsors and underwriters at this time. When I call your name, please rise and remain standing. At the conclusion of my list, we'll thank you all with a round of applause. Our most significant sponsor contributions came from our presenting sponsors, Jason Riney, Edey Flodberg, Pat Cantwell, please rise. Our VIP luncheon sponsors were Kevin Cantwell and Jim Zimelak. Our participating sponsors, again, please rise, Kevin Cantwell, Dan Meckes, Philip Cantwell, Greg Beekman, Neil Perryman, Mark Milton, Nat Walsh, David Gamache, Gary Weidman, Royce Vessel, Dean Eggerding, Bob O'Laughlin, Dennis Evans, Mike Simon, Jimmy Simon, Brent Jansen, Brent Kaniski, Nate Stoner, Dave Rich, Chris Turley, Charlie Ferretti, and Kevin McLaughlin. And the featured guest underwriter group was John Eckrich, Jim Dankenbring, Tom Dankenbring, Brent Boimer, Dean Eggerding, Scott Engelbrecht, Jason Christ, Matt Bays, Paul Coer, Chris Himes, Joel Karsten, John Bew, Tim Van Ryan, Trip Zumwalt. My apologies if I missed any of you. Please give our sponsors and underwriters a deserved round of applause. See, we got the business out of the way. The club's relationship with the U.S. Basketball Writers Association is special, and we're grateful for it. It's been a joy to work with Executive Director Malcolm Moran over the past few years, and we're grateful that he could join us this evening. Please join me in welcoming Malcolm to the podium for a few words of welcome.
Thanks, Aaron. I'm just here to say thank you and to show my gratitude, first of all, for the relationship between this place and my predecessor, Joe Mitch, as executive director, and all of the attention to detail that has gone into this meeting and the ones that preceded it. And when I knew that the relationship was special, it was when we were confronted several years ago with an inability to do this. And all the Zoom meetings we had trying to figure out when was the right time to do it again, and how would we do it? How would we do it to make the honorees feel special and to keep people safe? And that was my introduction to the Missouri Athletic Club and the special relationship here, and I just want to say thank you to that. To Aaron, Jim Wilson, Wally Smith, and everyone on the planning committee. And most of all, yes, please, let's hear it for the planning committee. But most of all, thanks to all the honorees. It is a long season. It covers a lot of miles. There are late nights and early mornings. And one more trip is something that requires a lot of effort. And so we are grateful that you're here. We're grateful that you'll share this time with us. And one thing that I hope this gathering can accomplish is that it gives all of you a chance to just kind of take a breath and reflect at everything you've accomplished. I mean, to achieve at that kind of elite level requires such a standard and living in the moment that you really don't get to experience the moment. So one way you could do it is when you look at the beautiful program that the club has prepared, please just check out the names that you're next to and think about all the things that went into putting you there and how you earned that place in the history of the game on your campuses. Congratulations to all of you for that. And on behalf of our president, Brendan Quinn, and Jeff Nelson, and the nearly 700 women and men in the U.S. Basketball Writers Association, the one question I would leave you with to kind of tee it up for something to come later, being back in St. Louis, where there was, for those of us of a certain age, there was a memorable Final Four here 50 years ago, and that raised the question that if a half century ago the name, image, and likeness marketplace was open, what would have been the numbers for, say, a red-headed two-time National Player of the Year that was on his way to becoming the first three-time National Player of the Year, who was part of two national champions, and what would Coach Wooden have said in response? Thanks to everyone, and thanks for having us.
Thank you, Malcolm. Who were you this past college basketball season? Who were you? What was your identity? Were you someone who just started paying attention when the Super Bowl ended? Or do you faithfully follow the conference season? Or maybe you went to a Thanksgiving tournament. Who were you this past college basketball season? Did you go to the Maui Invitational? What was your identity? Who were you? Were you the Uber Eats guy that stumbled onto the floor at the Duquesne game? Were you the freshman from Tallahassee writing her own story throughout the battles in the ACC? Were you the beast Boilermaker who battled with the bigs in the Big Ten and so often prevailed and accomplished so much? Well, more important than who you were this basketball season is who you are. And we are thankful that you're here. You are someone who has a chance as we move forward to go visit a new college campus and go to an arena you've never been to. You are somebody who can take your dad or your uncle to a game while you have the chance. You are someone who's going to craft the path forward of what college fandom looks like in this transfer portal NIL world. We are really grateful that you are here. Thanks for being with us. Please welcome our MC, Tom Ackerman.
All right, Aaron. Thank you very much. Yeah, I am Tom Ackerman, and I love college basketball. I am so happy. There is no place I would rather be than at this podium right here, right now, at our club, the Missouri Athletic Club. Isn't it great to be here? All right. So we are surrounded by college basketball royalty. We have college basketball up-and-comers. We are surrounded by college basketball. And I'm going to keep this quick and move it along because we also have Bill Walton with us. I don't know if you're aware, but Bill Walton has some stories. And we will make sure that we have enough time for Mr. Walton. We have enough time for everybody here today. But I want to also address, I talk so highly about St. Louis and my hometown and our hometown and how great a sports city we are. But for the listening audience and the viewing audience around the country right now on this live stream, St. Louis is a college basketball town. And what I mean by that is we cover it all. I mean, you name the conference, we're on it. And you name the institution, the odds are there's somebody in this city who's an alum. You can't go anywhere without people talking about college basketball in St. Louis. And it's so heartwarming that the USBWA has its event here in our city. So thank you very much for choosing St. Louis. We absolutely love being here. We're the MAC. Great to have you with us. For those of you here for the first time, this room is historic. We've had some major events happen in this room, and here's another one, and we're going to have a great award ceremony. I do want to recognize, his name has been mentioned a couple of times, but he is one of the people who helped bring this event to St. Louis at Table 20, Kevin Cantwell. Kevin dressed as if he's ready to coach UCLA and ready to take the bench. We're excited to have also at his table the two-time governor of the great state of Missouri, Jay Nixon. Table 24, the Division II Elite Eight, University of Missouri St. Louis UMSL coach Bob Sunvold. And his assistant coach, Chico Jones. Now, when you mention UMSL, the McKendree guys are like, wait a minute. We got to get McKendree in there. From McKendree University, they were the 2023 Great Lakes Valley Conference Men's Basketball Tournament champions. Coach George Suggs, the president of McKendree, a member of the 1981 Bearcat basketball team, playing for Hall of Fame coach Harry Statham. Dan Dobbins, another McKendree basketball alumnus, son of former SIU coach Rich Herron. Rod Herron. Please welcome McKendree today. From the Missouri Valley Conference, we welcome the Commissioner, Jeff Jackson. And Associate Commissioner, Jack Watkins. They do a terrific job hosting events, NCAA events here in St. Louis, and so does this institution, represented by many here in the audience today, St. Louis University Basketball Hall of Famer, member of the MAC, Scott Highmark. Scott is at the Lewis Rice table, Chief Operating Officer at University of Illinois' Athletic Department. Roger Denny is here as well. At the St. Louis University table, the head coach of the men's team, please welcome Travis Ford. Also with us today, she led SLU to its first trip to the NCAA tournament, and what a run they had in the second half of the season. Boy, that was fun. Rebecca Tillett. She is joined by the player who is the all-time blocks and rebounds leader in SLU history, led the country in blocks this season, That would be Brooke Flowers. And got to chat with her as well. She keeps the engine running for SLU basketball, and that would be Julia Martinez. And now with more from St. Louis University, I'd like to welcome my co-host for this evening. Please welcome from 101 ESPN. She has transitioned to ESPN Radio in New York. She's a Belleville, Illinois native. She's super talented, and we're excited to have her back at this awards dinner. Please welcome Michelle Smallmon.
Well, thank you, Tom. And as a hometown girl, I'm thrilled to be back in St. Louis and thrilled to kick things off tonight at a hometown table with St. Louis University basketball. Everyone, let's give a big round of applause for our Most Courageous Award winner, Terrence Hargrove Jr. So, TJ, you, of course, are known for your skills on the court, but it's what you did off the court this year, and that's why you're the recipient of this award. You hit send on a tweet where you outlined some of the struggles that you were dealing with mental health and stressors in your life and depression, and it really got a lot of people talking. Now, I know that social media can be a tough place, and especially as an athlete with a platform, what did it take for you to expose that side of yourself and be vulnerable and hit send on that tweet?
I mean, just having the confidence. I mean, you know, sometimes it's okay to get help and, you know, have people to come give you advice and be willing to help you, you know, just being open to letting people help you. And, you know, I was just so proud of myself, you know, that I overcame that, but I really didn't think it was going to do as in catching many people's attention as it did. So it kind of shocked me, but I mean, I'm glad, you know, a lot of people got to see that, and it really helped a lot of people because I really impacted so many lives that I didn't know I could do.
And a lot of people in this room are focusing on their mental health as well as their physical health. It's certainly been a conversation, especially since the pandemic, that we're talking about even more. After you hit send on that tweet and you got the reaction publicly that you did, what sort of conversations did you have with your fellow athletes? Because you guys are in a unique position and deal with a unique set of pressure and stressors every day.
I mean, people just ask me, how did I do it? Like, what gave you the reason to do it? I was just proud of myself, honestly. And then it's amazing how many people just came up to me and just got to talking to me and just sending me messages and asking, how did I do it? Or what advice can I give them? And I just gave them the best advice I could, you know. And it's amazing how I could just help other people. And so many other people got through it, and now they come back to me and just, you know, thank me for, you know, helping them. And I mean, I'm always open, you know, all ears for, you know, helping people.
So if you don't mind sharing, what is that advice that you would give people that would come and have that dialogue with you?
I mean, it's pretty simple. Just have a relationship with the Lord, honestly. Just, you know, pray, talk to the Lord, you know, always have faith in him because, you know, he'll never steer us wrong or never let us down. So, hey.
Well, Terrence, we are also proud of you. Thank you for sharing your story. Continued success to you, and please continue to share that message. This is Terrence Hargrove Jr. He is the USBWA Most Courageous Award winner. Everyone, please give him a round of applause. Thank you, TJ. And you know, I can't be at the SLU basketball table and not talk to a St. Louis basketball legend, Larry Hughes Sr. How you doing, Larry?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So, Larry, let me get this right. So 25 years ago, you won the Freshman of the Year award. Can you believe it's been 25 years?
Yeah, you guys are getting old, not me.
That's right. You haven't aged a day. I can confirm that. So looking back on young Larry, who received the Freshman of the Year award 25 years ago, what's a piece of advice you would have given him?
Just really stay focused. Keep your circle small. The same people that reward you will be the same people that, you know, will try to, you know, nitpick and find things that are wrong into your game. But, you know, have fun with it. You know, have fun with it and bring as many people as you can along with you.
And now you're watching your son forge his own path, but follow in your footsteps at SLU and college basketball. How's the game changed as you watch what he's experiencing?
Well, I think the overall game has changed, but the things that you want to accomplish of being an effective player, a good teammate, you know, do your job to the best of your ability, be held accountable, those things still hold true. So those are the things that I want to instill in him, and he's, you know, done a great job with taking over.
And you've had a fabulous career. You had a wonderful 14-year NBA career, but you never left the game. Even after your playing days were done, you've constantly poured into the St. Louis community and into the game of basketball, especially with the Larry Hughes Academy. So please give everyone in the room an update on what you've been up to.
Oh, well, that's just it. Just giving back, using the tools that I've been awarded over these years of seeing, how helping young people develop, on and off the court promotes a better life. And not everybody's going to make it to the NBA or the WNBA, but a lot of them will be dropped back into our communities, and we expect them to be good people and carry themselves well. So that's what the Larry Hughes Basketball Academy is about, is really building peak performers on and off the court.
Well, let's give it up to two of St. Louis University's own who are helping people and pouring into basketball, Larry Hughes and Terrence Hargrove Jr. Tom, back to you.
Michelle, thank you very much, and congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hand out the Wayman Tisdale Award. Let's take a look at the video board. What an incredible talent. Brandon Miller, the 6'9" forward, the first Alabama player to win the Wayman Tisdale Award. He led all SEC players in scoring. He was fourth in the league in rebounds. Think about that for just a minute. He led the Crimson Tide to its second Sweet 16 appearance in the last 3 years, ninth in program history. What he did in 1 year is remarkable. First player to sweep the SEC Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, Tournament MVP in the same season. First player to do that. He is a first-team All-SEC, All-Tournament selection, named a USBWA second-team All-American, the only freshman to make that roster, to make that team. He became the fourth player in the last 50 years to lead the SEC in scoring as a freshman. He is Brandon Miller. He was unable to be with us here tonight, but please give him a warm round of applause. I know he'll hear it. Brandon Miller.
All right, let's honor another wonderful freshman, Tanaya Latson. She is a record-breaking guard and the nation's top freshman in women's college basketball. After just one season, she has quickly proven what a force she is in this game. She recorded one of the best freshman seasons in collegiate basketball history, and she earned her Florida State Seminoles a number 7 seed in their 10th consecutive NCAA tournament. Listen to some of these numbers and some of her accomplishments. She averaged 21.3 points, 4.5 rebounds in her first season, and she shot 45.5% overall and 36.2% from three-point range. She was the first freshman ever to lead the ACC in scoring, and she set the single-season scoring average record by a freshman in the conference with 659 total points. That's right. She's collected numerous awards this season. She was the ACC Rookie of the Week, the 2023 ACC Rookie of the Year. She was named the National Freshman of the Week by the USBWA 3 times and the National Freshman of the Year by The Athletic. And she picks up another piece of hardware tonight as she takes home the Tamika Catchings Award for Freshman of the Year. This is Tanaya Latson. What a player and what a year. Please help me welcome Tania Latson, our Tamika Catching Awards winner, up to the stage alongside her coach, the head coach of Florida State women's basketball, Brooke Wyckoff. All right, ladies, let's get comfortable here. I mean, let's give another round of applause for these two accomplished women that we have here on this stage. Okay, Tania, since you are the award recipient tonight, we have to start with you. You heard me list all your numbers and your accomplishments. How did you keep yourself grounded as you were going through this season and you realized what unbelievable numbers you were putting up and what a great freshman season you were putting together? How did you not try to let that be the focus?
Just keeping God first and being a team player and just, doing what I had to do as a freshman coming in and just humbling myself and just taking in the experience and learning.
And Brooke, you kind of laughed when you heard me say that. As your coach, how did you try to manage those expectations?
Wow, she just impressed me so much with, she set her own expectations. She came in as a freshman. We had high hopes for her, but she's got to be the one that goes out and does it. And so just so proud of how she handled all of the accolades, the pressure that came along with it. Once she started scoring, she was humble. She was a great teammate. And so it was fun to watch. I had a front row seat,
Now, you mentioned the expectations that were placed upon you before the season. Is that a conversation that the two of you have? Do you set certain goals for yourself, or having it be your first season, or are you just trying to take it as it comes?
I definitely had goals coming into this season, but I quickly learned that that it didn't go as planned. But, in the summer, I just had to grow, and Coach Brooke had we had a really good talk about just taking things day by day and just continuing to learn and, be a good teammate. So, yeah.
Amazing. Well, after a first year like that, what are your goals for next year?
To become a better basketball player all around, just get my teammates more involved and become more of a vocal leader on the team. And, pretty much.
I'm sure you'll accomplish whatever you set your mind to. And Coach, you had a wonderful career in the WNBA. When you look at your star player here, this superstar, is that a path you see her forging as well?
Absolutely. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm so excited for what's ahead of this one. The sky's the limit for her, and so really proud and excited for, that draft day. But we got a few more games to play at Florida State before that happens, right?
Yeah. Not trying to rush her. Don't worry. All right, everyone, let's please give it up for Tania Latson and Brooke Wyckoff from Florida State.
Congratulations. We now want to make a special announcement. The USBWA this year awarded the Dean E. Smith Award to a college basketball coach who exemplifies the traits of the Hall of Famer from the University of North Carolina, Dean Smith. And although the 2023 award winner could not be here tonight, we are very happy that he did send in a recorded video. Please take a look.
What a great night here at the Missouri Athletic Club for the annual Basketball Writers Association Award Show. It's an honor to be with you, and have a great night. We're awarding so many worthy people of the accomplishments that they've had during the year. You also are awarding me one of the most prestigious awards, and that's the Dean Smith Award. Thank you so very much. I cannot think of a higher honor than to have my name associated with Dean's. Obviously, we were competitors, and as a younger coach, I learned a lot from him and his teams. As we built our program, I learned how he built his program, especially his association with his players, the culture that he built. And we tried to build a culture that made us relevant for years to come. Dean built a program forever, and hopefully that's what we were able to do. But he was a great man, a great coach, and obviously became a special friend to me. So thank you, and again, it's an honor to receive that award. I've heard that you have another very prestigious award. It's the Good Guy Award, and wow, yeah, what a great choice in choosing Mike Brey. Except I think you should change the award from Good Guy to Great Guy. Mike was on my staff. I hired him when he was an assistant high school coach at DeMatha High School under the legendary coach Morgan Wooten. During his time at Duke, we went to 6 Final Fours and won 2 national championships. I wish he would have never left. Maybe we could have done even more. But there's no one who has represented our sport, the coaching profession, better than Mike as far as being a good guy, not only with his community, his school, and his team, but with all of you. I think he set a great example of how a head coach in basketball should relate to the media. So congratulations to Mike. You made an amazing choice. Have a great night. And again, congratulations to all the award winners. I know you're excited to be there and be recognized for your accomplishments this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll direct your attention to the video screen and please welcome Mike Brey.
I've been in love with 2 coaching jobs in my 5 years as a head coach, and that's Notre Dame twice.
Championship, defeating North Carolina 90-82.
Farrell to the right of the top of the key. Farrell between the circles. Farrell, alley-oop to Gallagher. Brey!
Happy St. Patrick's Day, baby!
It comes on into Hayes. Hayes dribbling, loses the ball. Jackson lays it up and in! The Cardiac Kids have done it again.
Defense! Defense!
Good memories.
What do you think when you see that video right there?
I should have been in better shape in Maui before I whipped that shirt off, but we won it. Who cares?
How about the words from Mike Krzyzewski?
Yeah, that's, first of all, you know, I worked for him for 8 years. I never heard him talk about Dean Smith when I worked for him like that. But no, he took a chance on me, as he said. I was an assistant high school coach with Morgan Wooten, and I remember him saying, I don't want anybody coming down here who doesn't want to be a head coach, so you're going to get your hands on everything, and he really prepared me, and we had an unbelievable run and got me ready to go to the University of Delaware, but a good friend, and he actually came to the game when we played Duke in Cameron, sat on the baseline, and I think that was to affect the officiating and not really to be there for me.
Always the competitor. What were those days like? Why did Duke achieve so much success? What was the special sauce, so to speak?
You know, he is an amazing leader and communicator and an amazing worker. You know, that's the one theme that I remember him compete every day. And certainly we compete during a season with our teams, but certainly then the off season as far as recruiting and public relations. And the man woke up every morning trying to figure out how to beat somebody in something. That guy happened to be Dean Smith when I was there. It was an unbelievable motivator to watch Dean and him to chase that. And it made us all better. You know, Tommy and Amber and I used to talk all the time. If we lost to North Carolina, we never went out to lunch. because it was all Carolina fans in Durham. You know, if we won, we'd go out to lunch. So he was great friend, and got me prepared, and look forward to maybe spending more time with him now.
Take me that meeting again, though. DeMatha, you're coming out of there. What did you see in each other? What do you think he saw in you, and what did you see in him?
You know, I mean, I was probably, you know, it's all about connections. And when I was at DeMatha, we had a guy by the name of Danny Ferry, Bob Ferry, right? Great player at St. Louis. And we actually brought Danny back here to the 7-Up shootout, I believe, was Keith Pickett. I don't know if Keith Pickett used to run it. So anyways, Danny Ferry was there. And so everybody, I'm a young guy with Morgan Wooten, and everyone's coming through to recruit not only Danny, but other kids. And for a young guy, I got to know all those guys. And, you know, maybe he saw, I think, relationships and being able to connect with young people. I started as a high school history teacher and JV coach. And that's really helped me, I think, in my communication, you know, through the years. But I think he also wanted a guy that was going to be around a while with him. And I was there 8 years, and we went to 6 Final Fours, and that was almost like not real. It was crazy. I have a great St. Louis U story. In 1992, the job was open, and I don't know who, and I met with Debbie Yao, right? Debbie Yao was your AD, I believe. I met with Debbie Yao, and I came back to the hotel in Minneapolis to tell Mike, I said, hey, I just had a great meeting with Debbie Yao. Don't you think St. Louis would be a great job for me? He goes, you'll be fired in 3 years there. Thanks for the confidence, Coach.
So 1995 is Delaware.
Yeah, I go to Delaware in 95.
And you took them to the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
So how did that develop, and how gratifying was that? I mean, Coach K guides you, and you work together, and then you have your own squad in the tournament.
I was fortunate, you know, it was back in a region. I'm from the D.C. area, and you could drive to get players, Philly, Jersey, Baltimore, D.C., and we've got a bunch of kids. And actually, pre-portal, we were working the transfer thing back in the late 90s. We always had 2 guys sitting out, and, you know, it was good to us. But, you know, what helped me was I took a job at a place. We weren't on ESPN. We were never on Big Monday. So when you did screw up, and believe me, I did at Delaware, you didn't do it on national TV. I was able to grow a little bit and get confident, and we had some success, and was able to get to South Bend in 2000.
You did 23 years at Notre Dame, 13 NCAA tournaments.
Yeah.
Back-to-back Elite Eights, 2015 and 16. But take me back to the beginning, and Notre Dame, what was it like then? What was the challenge ahead of you?
Well, you know, people ask me how long you've been at Notre Dame, and I just phrase it, 6 football coaches. Marcus Freeman is number 6. And when you're the basketball coach at Notre Dame, you learn how to duck a lot when it gets off there. When we would lose in September in football, you just go on the road for a week. Just get out of South Bend, just recruit, get out of there. It was too tight. But I got there. Kevin White hired me, the former Duke AD, and Monk Malloy, who was a basketball player, was the president at the time. But I inherited a heck of a team. Troy Murphy, Ryan Humphrey, Martin Inglesby, Matt Carroll, David Graves, John McLeod, God rest his soul, and Matt Doherty. In the 1 year he was at Notre Dame, really had players there. And I'm just thankful I didn't screw it up in my first year. And we were in the Big East then. And then we were able to get some momentum and get going and get back to the tournament. I did not know when I took the job in 2000, Notre Dame had not been to the NCAA tournament in 10 years. That was I didn't know that. And we lost momentum, and we started to gain it back a little bit through the Big East.
And you did. Was there, I know football is king, but was there pressure involved? Did you feel that? And you had been at Duke. I mean, you'd been at the highest of the mountain, but you're the head coach at a major program.
Oh, absolutely. I think, and Shaka and Matt are here, and Travis is here. I recruited Travis. I flew into Nashville and drove 2 hours. I don't even know where the hell I drove, Travis. But when I got there, you didn't miss a shot. That's all I remember. But and he's done a great job here at SLU. He's been fabulous. But no, you're always, it's what do they say? There's two kinds of coaches. Lou Holtz said it. Those who've been fired and those who are going to be. You're trying to stay ahead of the posse. Come on, we're all trying to stay ahead of the posse a little bit, and you get put in 23 years. You get put on the mat a couple times. You better figure a way to come off, and we did a couple times. But I thought in January, I think they need a new voice, and I probably need something new too. So, but 23 years at that institution, I've been honored.
I told you off the stage that we have some mutual friends. I mean, anybody that talks about Mike Brey, always the best guy, and that's why. Partly you're receiving the Good Guy Award, not only your success on the court, but people. It is a people business, isn't it? Where did that come from?
Well, I think from, my parents were high school educators, so the dinner table talk was teaching and coaching, and that's what they talked about. So in a way, I was in the family business. Morgan Wooten, I was around his basketball camp from age 10 until I played for him and then worked with him, and then Mike Kay. So, you were just around people who could communicate and connect with young people, which is the biggest thing we have to do in our profession, and it's what makes it cool. And I know there's been so much about NIL and name, image, and likeness, but when I say basketball, I mean men's and women's basketball. It's good. You see the faces on the young people playing, and a story like Zach and how he got better, and it's just. There's a lot of good stuff, man, and we got to get it back on the rails a little bit. And Matt and Shaka do such a great job in leadership positions, and I think they'll get some things back on the rails. But it's good, man. There's good energy around the sport.
I'm with you. There are a lot of great stories to be told. Finally, what is next for you? What
Yeah, that's a good question. I got 3 grandchildren. My son coaches football at IMG Academy, and I got some grandchildren down there, 2 grandsons, Wes and Jude, and I think I need to start working them out. I told my son, I said, I'll be down tomorrow. We need to work them out a little bit, get everything ready. So I think I need a little time to breathe. Maybe you do some television. I don't think I'm done coaching. I think I've got some energy to do that, but the game's been really good to me, and I mentioned Travis and Matt and Shaka. They're the next generation of leadership in our profession, and it comes at really a key time.
Loved watching your teams. I watched a lot of your games, and I love the way that your teams played, but mostly I have always admired you just as a person and as a coach and as someone that college basketball enjoys being around, and that says everything about you. And
But seriously, I was asking some people at the cocktail hour, this Good Guy Award, does that mean I just never got caught cheating? I mean, you can be honest with me, man. You can be honest with me. I would tell some Norm Stewart stories because I damn sure.
All right, give me.
I got one.
Give me one.
I got one. I got a great Norm. This is a Norm crowd, so let me tell it. So my first year at Delaware, we go to the San Juan shootout in Puerto Rico. Missouri's there with Norm. We somehow steal 2 wins out of the consolation bracket at Delaware. We beat Florida, which, shit, we're going to have a parade in San Juan. When Delaware beats Florida, we're having a parade. Norm loses to Rick Barnes and Clemson in the championship game. Get to the bar at the Marriott. He's sitting there after the championship game. I walk up, sit down. Hey, Coach, how you doing? And hey, Mike, how you doing? Good, good week. I said, Coach, any advice? He goes, let me tell you something, Mike. We're both getting off this island 2-1, brother. He said, this has been good for you and good for me. Now buy me another beer. And I damn sure did. Thank you.
Mike Brey, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice job. Thank you.
Now let's recognize Dawn Staley, who's being honored for the Coach of the Year award. Dawn Staley's impact on the game of basketball, both as a player and as a coach, it cannot be overlooked. This year, Dawn Staley led the Gamecocks to a 36-1 season. She helped South Carolina clinch the SEC regular season and the tournament for the 7th time. She celebrated her 400th win to advance to the Sweet 16. I could really give her a resume and we'd be here all night. She really has such a long list of accomplishments. And just a few weeks ago, she was saying not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5, as South Carolina had a record 5 players drafted in the WNBA draft, including Aaliyah Boston being drafted #1 overall, who we celebrated at this very dinner last year. Dawn Staley has had 14 seasons leading the Gamecocks and has numerous accomplishments, 2 national championships, 5 NCAA Final Fours, and she ranked #1 in the AP poll for 44 weeks, including 2 final #1 rankings. Oh, and she posted a 42-game winning streak. Not bad. And now tonight, after winning this award twice, she notches her 3rd USBWA National Coach of the Year. This is Dawn Staley.
I would like to say I am super sorry that I can't be in attendance because duty calls. We have a recruit, and for me to receive an award like this means that sometimes these things happen. But I wanna just say to the honorees, congratulations. I hope you and your family enjoy such an awesome recognition. I also would like to thank the USBWA for this prestigious award. Obviously, I'm standing here accepting it on the behalf of our team, our coaching staff, and everyone associated with our program because, quite honestly, they did all the work. So thank you, and go Gamecocks.
Thank you, Coach Staley, for that acceptance video. Now we want to honor the National Women's Player of the Year, the Ann Myers Drysdale Award winner, Caitlin Clark of Iowa. She is a star, and she was the talk of the sports world just a week ago. After a dominant season, she put up historic numbers. She absolutely stole the show in the women's NCAA tournament, including posting a record 191 points in the tournament. That's a single NCAA tournament record for men's or women's basketball. That's right. All eyes are on Caitlin Clark. All of us want to see what's next for her, and I mean all eyes. 9.9 million viewers watch Caitlin and her Iowa Hawkeyes take on LSU in the national championship game, making it the most watched women's college basketball game in history. She is a force to be reckoned with. Let's take a look at our National Women's Player of the Year, Caitlin Clark.
Hi, it's Caitlin Clark. It's just such an honor to win the Ann Myers-Drysdale National Player of the Year award. I couldn't be more grateful to have this honor, one of the most tremendous honors all across America. To be named the best player in America is huge, but I know it wouldn't be possible without each and every one of my teammates and my amazing coaches. We had an incredible year, and I know this just wouldn't be possible without them. And I'm lucky that I'm, surrounded by a group of girls that believes in me and supports me every single step of the way. So thank you. It's a tremendous honor to all those, who voted for me. I really appreciate it. I know there's so many great players in America, but to be named one of the best and with one of the best is truly amazing. So thank you, and I couldn't be more thankful.
Caitlin hit a dagger at the buzzer against my beloved Indiana Hoosiers, so I'm getting over it. Caitlin Clark's an unbelievable talent. This guy was also tough on us. Very, very tough on us. The Oscar Robertson Trophy. Take a look at this next video. The absolute dominance. Let me give you some numbers on the 7'4" Zach Edey, first player in NCAA history since blocks became an official stat to record at least 750 points, 400 rebounds, 70 blocks, and 50 assists in a season, first ever. The only player in the NCAA database to rank in the top 25 of all 4 categories, scoring, rebounds, block shots, and field goal percentage in the same season. With his coach, Matt Painter, here's Zach Edey. First of all, Coach Painter, it is great to see you. Welcome Matt Painter back to St. Louis. I know you have some great memories here, don't you?
Oh, I have some great memories. Obviously, I lived 2 hours from St. Louis, being in Eastern Illinois and Southern Illinois, but just the Arch Madness, being at Southern Illinois and getting that experience as an assistant and a head coach was huge, and the fans in St. Louis are great.
What can you say about this man right here, Zach Edey?
Well, like Coach Brey had talked about, there's a lot of great things in college basketball, just the story that he has. His first year of organized basketball was his sophomore year in high school. So in his 6th year of organized basketball, he swept the National Player of the Year award in every single one of them. So it kind of speaks for itself, but it's good to get somebody with no habits instead of bad habits. And so everything's fresh for him. And, 2 years ago he couldn't pass. And he became, like when he first started, it was unbelievable. He'd play 15 minutes, he'd get 12 points, he'd get 6 rebounds, he'd have 4 fouls, 5 turnovers, and we go to the monitor twice. And then 3 or 4 weeks later, he just fixed it. It was amazing. Normally when someone has a struggle with something, it takes a season, it takes a while. And 6 games later, he fixed it. And he still had some issues, but the next year, then he was a little bit better in each spot. And then this year, what he really improved on, he was on the all-defensive team in our league, so his ability to block shots, his ball screen defense, rebounding in his area. I think he was the 2nd-best rebounder in the country. But his ability to pass, that's where he really got better, and he's a very selfless player. And, you got to have multipliers on your team. You got to have people that make other people better and just aren't worried about themselves. And he's a very selfless dude and always plays hard and always competes hard, especially in practice.
Zach, I talked to you upstairs about being an IU guy, but then I saw you play at Assembly Hall and how much respect we had for you. I mean, you walk in the building, the obvious question is, how are we going to stop Zach Edey? But it's the teammates play a big part of that too. I know that he just mentioned selfless. That's the vibe that you always get from you, is that you're a great teammate. How did you feel about your teammates in that scenario where the attention was on you?
At Assembly Hall?
Anywhere.
I mean, it's great. You know, I have great teammates around me all season. You know, people, they act like this is my award, but it's not my award. I would never be able to be up here in front of you guys without the complete support of my teammates. You know, they all kind of bought into our system. They really tried to get me the ball every possession. You know, I really wouldn't be able to be up here. I might be the face of this award. I mean, my name might be on the award, but in reality, I had so many great people behind me that enabled me to do this.
Including your mom. Your mom's beaming over there. I had a chance to talk with her upstairs as well. Tell me about her.
She's great. You know, it was kind of our deal coming out of high school that if I got a scholarship, she would retire. So that was kind of a big motivating factor for me to try to go D1 in America. I did it, so she retired, and basically every season since then, she's come down, rented an Airbnb, stayed, watched basically all my games. She'll travel on the road, drive crazy amount of hours just to come watch me play, and so I can have a familiar face in the stands, and I'm just so grateful for that.
Can you imagine him as a hockey player? But it was true. Hockey player, Toronto. In fact, you didn't become a basketball player until your sophomore year in high school. Tell me about that time and that transition.
You know, there's a lot of factors that led into it. I always kind of say, like, basketball almost found me a little bit. You know, I kind of resisted it when I was a kid. You know, everyone wanted me to play basketball. They wanted to kind of choose my sport for me, and I really didn't like that. So I did my best to try to stay away from basketball as much as possible. I played hockey, I played baseball growing up, but then kind of some things happened and they didn't work out, so I went to basketball, and I think that was a pretty good decision.
What was that like for you, what Coach was just talking about, learning to be, I mean, I mentioned the assist numbers, learning to be a better passer, a better player. Tell me about that process.
I mean, when I came to campus, like he said, like I had no habits. I was pretty bad. Like I couldn't really do much. But you know, I kind of grew. I learned. The game slowed down for me a little bit. And then the coaches here, they really helped me. They built me from the ground up, and I'm just so grateful to all of them. Coach Painter, the coaches at my freshman year, they left. Coach Shrews, Coach Lutz, the coach we have now, Coach Lusk. Coach T, and then of course Coach Brantley has been the biggest factor in my development.
I'm going to ask Coach Painter the last question, but this is my last one for you. What is it like running out of the tunnel at one of the great venues in college basketball, Mackey Arena, when you have that place charged up?
It's incredible, especially when we get to play against the IU. The energy in the building is undescribable. You kind of run out and you look around, and it's incredible. You have all those people come and watch you play basketball, so it makes you just want to play as hard as you can.
And for Zach, what's next for him? What do you see for Zach Edey in 2023?
Well, he's got a great situation in front of him. No matter what he chooses to do, whether he goes pro or he comes back, it's going to be a great decision. And you just want the guys in your program to make those great life decisions and then don't look back and just keep pushing ahead. But, he's a worker. And so, like, anytime you're dealing with someone that has the ability and has the talent, who's selfless like he is, that puts in work behind it, great things are going to happen.
I know you're proud to have an Oscar Robertson Trophy winner, Zach Edey from Purdue University.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we wanted to take the time to honor the Henry Iba Award winner for Coach of the Year, Shaka Smart. Yes. In just his second season as the head coach at Marquette University, Shaka Smart led the Golden Eagles to their first Big East outright regular season title and tournament championship. Coach, that's right. Coach Smart was an integral part of MU's success, and the university saw one of their most successful seasons in its century-plus basketball history, winning a program best 29 games. We're going to talk about this in a second, but the Golden Eagles, they were picked to finish 9th in the 11-team Big East, and instead the team became one of the best offenses in the nation. They went 17-3 in the conference to set a Big East record and won the outright title. They also beat every team in the conference for the first time since joining the league, and to cap off his historic season, Shaka Smart is being honored tonight with the 2023 Henry Iba Coach of the Year Award. Let's take a look at his wonderful season. Some highlights from an incredible season for Coach Shaka Smart at Marquette. Okay, Coach, as I mentioned, your second season, you're picked to finish 9th in the 11-team Big East. Instead, you decided to go 17-3, and you set a Big East record. You won the outright title for the very first time. So did the media underrate your team, or did you outperform expectations?
Well, you know, coaches and players don't put a whole lot into that stuff. We do use it as motivation when we can. We felt like we had a good group, and we felt like, most importantly, our guys really cared about one another, and they played with a real joy and genuine interest in making each other better, so we thought we had a chance to be a lot better than people thought.
At what point in the season did you realize that you had a chance to be better than a lot of people thought?
Actually, when we lost to Purdue, we went. I'm serious. We went and played Purdue, our third game of the year, and you know, I've always had an incredible respect for Coach Painter and their team. We felt like, at the time, we felt like they had one of the best players in the country. Turned out he was the best player in the country. So we went down there. We knew it was going to be a really tough game, and we played really well for about 3/4 of the game, and then they kind of outclassed us down the stretch and beat us at their place. But there was a weird feeling in the locker room. On one hand, our guys were really upset that we lost. It was our first loss of the year. But on the other hand, you could see in their eyes that they felt like, hey, we can go anywhere and compete with anyone, and that's what we did the rest of the year.
We're going to get back to your season at Marquette in a second, but I want to roll the tape back and talk about the path that led you here. So in researching you, I read, and you can't believe everything you read on the internet, as you know, but that when you were choosing what to do as a young man in college, that you actually turned down acceptance to Harvard to play basketball at Kenyon College. Now, it did work out for you, obviously, this basketball thing, but what went into making that decision?
Well, I went to the school I went to, Kenyon College, because of the basketball coach. So I was, you know, so basketball crazy. That was the only thing on my mind. And I had a relationship with him. He was like a father figure to me. So that's why I chose to go there. And then after my freshman year, he actually left. So I learned early on about kind of the business side of coaching and how coaching changes can affect players. And that's always been something that's stuck with me.
I also want to talk about when you were appointed the head coach of VCU, because a lot was made that you were one of the youngest head coaches in NCAA history, and especially at that time. Was that something that might have worked in your favor, the fact that you had youth on your side, maybe you could relate to players in the landscape of college basketball more?
Yeah, I was 31 years old, and the best thing I had going for me was I didn't know what I didn't know. So it worked out well, and was fortunate to have a great group of guys that we were able to bring in. You know, any of these awards, as Zach said, they're team awards. You know, they're awards that go just as much to every player on the team, every coach and the coaching staff. And that's one thing that every good team that I've been a part of has had in common, is a group of guys that truly care about one another.
It is a team sport. It is a team award, but we're in a society where praise for the individual has never been more omnipresent with the NIL and social media and all that. How do you keep the focus on your team when you have players who are getting individual accolades and perhaps endorsement deals?
Well, I think the challenge is that our game at the highest level, the NBA, is marketed by the individual. You think about LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, the best players are what drives that league. And so that filters down to every level of basketball. For us, what we've tried to do is help our guys understand that individual success is going to come as a byproduct of team success. You know, there's a reason that Zach Edey's sitting there. His team was really, really good. He made his team be really, really good. And that's the case for any player that achieves at a high level. So if we can get our guys to buy into that and have a lot of fun together playing, then we'll have a chance to do some great things.
Marquette was obviously a great landing spot for you. You had an unbelievable season, great success there. And throughout your career, your name always comes up attached to different jobs. But what is it about Marquette that made you think this is the place for me?
It's a great basketball school. You know, it's a school that, you know, when kids come in to go to university there, already on their mind is coming to home basketball games. And that's something that, you know, has been kind of part of the fabric of the university for a long, long time. So it's a great place for me, my family. We really enjoy it there. And being a part of the Big East, I played Division III basketball, so to look around those arenas and to see all those people and to get a chance to be a part of those battles is a ton of fun.
We know that if we see a Shaka Smart team in the tournament, it probably means trouble. You have taken many a team to the tournament. What's the difference between coaching a team in the regular season and tournament time?
The same things go into winning in November that go into winning in March, but everybody treats it differently. So what happens is our minds feel like it's different. The players' minds feel like it's different. So just trying to help them understand that the exact same things go into getting a team stop or a team score. And if we can kind of make our way through the clutter mentally of, you know, the NCAA tournament, so much is made of it. And there's so much media coverage, social media now. And so I think just helping the players understand that all the stuff that's worked for us to this point is going to work. Things that haven't worked for us to this point are going to continue to not work. And so staying true to what really works for us is going to give us our best chance.
And finally, even though it is a team award, you're the one being recognized tonight as the Coach of the Year. What does that mean to you?
Well, actually, I'm the second best coach in our family. My wife, Maya, is here. I want to recognize her. Thank you for coming.
Let's give it up for Maya.
So she makes all the coaching decisions in our family. There was only one time where I had to overrule her, and it actually worked out well. She wanted to kick a couple guys off the team for skipping a banquet, and I said, "No, we can't do that. We need them down the stretch." But
that was a risky move, though, to go against her.
You know, for me, the best coaches that have the best seasons, they do it in a million different ways, but they have one thing in common, and that is that they have a captive audience in their players. And the coaches that you see and you say, well, why is he struggling with his team, or why are they having a tough year? It's not because he forgot how to coach or he lost his knowledge of the game. It's that for some reason he doesn't have a captive audience with his guys. So just been fortunate to have a group of guys that wants to buy into what we've asked them to do, cares about one another, cares about what it says across the front of their jerseys, and is a competitive group.
Well, you're an incredible leader. Let's give it up one more time for our Coach of the Year, Shaka Smart.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it again for Michelle Smallmon tonight. We also want to thank our Director of Communications here at the Missouri Athletic Club. He does so much behind the scenes to make nights like this a success. Jim Wilson. Folks, it's 9 o'clock, And it is time. Let's take a look.
5, 4, 3, 2.5, 2, 1. It's time to throw it down.
It must be getting early. Clocks are running late.
Bridges, I love bridges. Golden Gate Bridge, Coronado Bridge, the natural bridges.
Dawn is breaking everywhere. Not a candle, curse the glare. Draw the curtains, I don't care, 'cause it's alright.
Take a bite out of it while it's lit.
While it's lit?
Say, oh, I was kidding. I can't.
Please, party on. It's a wonderful day.
List out. Say your piece and get out. Yes, I get the gist of it, but it's alright. Sorry that you feel that way. The only thing there is to say, every silver lining's got days.
I want the ball in the air to determine the fate of the known world at the end.
You broke it.
No, I didn't break it. It comes apart like that. That's how you transport it. So you can, please, don't you know anything about glockenspiels?
It's a lesson to me. The evils and the makers and the seeds.
This is an excellent shirt, by the way. I've got one of those.
If this is your shirt.
That's my shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, three-time Oscar Robertson Trophy winner, Basketball Hall of Famer, Bill Walton.
Wow. Wow. Never had such a good time in my life before. Might as well.
I love hearing
One more time. Wait a second.
Yeah.
I gotta take my jacket off.
Okay, take the jacket off.
You gotta give me room to move.
Here, let me help.
I can't give my best unless I got room to move.
No, we gotta give you room. We gotta give you some.
Shaka, I'm gonna leave my shirt on. Last time I did a game with Shaka, I took my shirt off during the game, and it.
Well, you know what?
It was quite
Anything's possible.
embarrassing.
Speaking of that, I heard you went swimming at the MAC. Is that true?
If I had had a place like the Missouri Athletic Club in my life, I could have done something with myself. But what an incredible place, and to come here and to be in this temple and this shrine, a place where Bill Bradley played basketball in his early years, and just how incredible. And so much of my life has come through St. Louis. I don't get here nearly enough, and everybody has just been better than perfect. And to see all the award winners tonight, and we'll go through them kind of. And Tanaya, the future. Now, she doesn't know this because she's young, but there is a lake in Yosemite National Park at the top of the world that is named Tanaya Lake. And like Tanaya here tonight, shimmering, glistening in the golden light of day, and just absolutely beautiful. And just to the east, just to the east of Tanaya Lake is Tuolumne Meadows, and just to the north is Olmsted Point, and just to the southwest, southeast is Clouds Rest, and then beyond that is Half Dome. And like Tanaya herself, that place is just better than perfect, as is the Missouri Athletic Club.
And then Shaka. And I just love all the coaches and the speeches tonight because everybody's talking about team. And then we're going to walk out the door and nobody will be talking about team, right? And nobody will be living the team. And that's the beauty of what we have here today. And with Shaka, what he does in terms of inspiring and empowering as an active coach and current and building it all up. And then Matt Painter in terms of what he's been able to do there at Purdue for quite a few years now. And now to have such a spectacular, towering monument of success and excellence. And while we're tripping through Yosemite, when we were at Tenaya Lake and Half Dome, we'd just go right around the corner and go to El Capitan. And here's El Capitan right there. And then Mike Brey. And Mike Brey, just the coolest dude ever. And he played for Morgan Wooten, who was like this with John Wooden. And I was the antithesis of Mike Brey. And I never get a good guy award. And I get the obnoxious guy award. But Mike Brey, he is the personification of who I would love to be. And someone who is just, who radiates joy, who radiates happiness, but also is strict, firm, demanding. And he is just representative of what America can, could, and should be. And Mike Brey, I thank you, I congratulate you. And then I want to thank the table mates that I had there. There is Brent, and there is Wally, and there is Malcolm, yes, and there's Mike, and there is Brendan, yeah, my team, and then Michelle over there, excuse me. And to sit with Brendan and Malcolm and listen to their stories, and then have Malcolm come up here and say nice things about me and the NIL and everything. And we had a show one time, not too long ago, and I was with Kareem on the stage. Now, Kareem was the greatest and just at the standard of excellence. I mean, we talk about the great celebration of life that this event is, that college basketball is, college athletics, St. Louis, and it was just absolutely incredible to hear Malcolm talk about NIL because Kareem and I were on the stage together and in the Q&A, which we'll have tonight, and I'm going to close the place down, so don't worry about you getting your question in. And if you have to leave, we'll still be here at breakfast.
Yeah, that's all right. That's my job. We'll be good. Yeah.
And so the question was about the NIL. Kareem, if you and Bill were playing in the era of NIL, like what would it be like? And Kareem looked at the guy and he thought about it for a second. He said, "Well, Kareem, I would take Europe." And then he looked over at me and he said, "Bill, he'd get Latin America." And so, and we're as happy as can be for the success of the players. And anyone that brings anything that's better for the players, that brings it down. I mean, because what has changed more than anything is the business of sports. And so many people have been responsible for driving that. And just finished a fantastic new book that I encourage everybody to read about the business of the world, Davos Man by Peter Goodman. But this whole sense of what we're doing tonight and celebrating. And I want to start with Mrs. Zach over here, Zach's mom. And because none of it happens. I'm sorry I don't know your name, but I'm Bill. 2 L's, the second one is silent. And so, what's your name? Julia, yeah. Okay.
Let me say this.
Julia Roberts. Hold on a second.
He won't forget anyone's name either.
Okay. And so, with all due respect to Julia, I had the privilege of having the greatest parents ever. And my parents had zero interest in sports. None. Never shot a basket, never played any sports, never watched. We didn't have a television in our house. And my mom was our town's librarian. My dad was a social worker, an adult educator, and a music teacher. And they had no idea what I was doing out there. But I found basketball when I was 8 years old and had the greatest coach, my first coach. And those of you who are coaching, the impact that you have in our lives. There's never been greatness without a coach. Zach does not exist. Tenaya does not exist without Brooke and without Matt. And all the great players that come along, there's always a coach. It's just the same with leadership. There's never greatness without leadership, and failure always comes back to lack of leadership. And so here I am. I'm in the 7th grade, and I'm on my way. And I'm going and just grinding it out and playing every single day. I've got 2 games every day of the week, and I've got 7 or 8 games on Saturday and on Sunday, and I'm riding my bike to all the games. So my parents, they weren't, where are you going today, Billy? I'll be back at dinner. And so, what would happen though, I could get to the 2 games on Monday through Friday, but Saturday and Sunday with 7 or 8 games, I would play the first half of one game, the second half of the next. I'd play the middle part of one game and then the end of the next game, and so on and so forth throughout the day. And on Monday back at school, I'd say, hey, so what happened in the game, man? When I left, we were ahead 30-1. Oh, Bill, we lost 31-30, man. and so my dad who worked all the time, and my dad, he was just the greatest dad in the world, but no interest in sports. And so one day I said, Dad, hey man, I really want to play the whole game because I really like winning all these games. and I said, Dad, will you please drive me to my game on Saturday? And that was his one day that he could have one moment to himself, right? But he looked at me and he said, okay, where are we going and what are we going to do? And so now I'm in the 7th grade and I'm sitting there and I got the ball in my hand, basketball, the most perfect game of all. We're very much like drinking tequila, You wait for the opening tip, you wait for that opening sip, and then it's on, right? And so I got the ball in my hand and I'm dreaming. Jumpers, backdoor passes, block shots, rebounds, doing it all, right? And I look over at my dad, who was everlastingly positive. My dad grew up in the southern San Joaquin Valley during John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath. His parents were public school educators and administrators. He went to Berkeley and was an honor student at Cal, and then things changed, as they always do, and he ended up in Europe fighting on the ground in France and Germany. And he came back and never said a word about it to anybody, but spent the rest of his life trying to convince people to get along. And so here he was, incredibly optimistic and positive about everything in life, with the ball in my hand and dreaming about what's next, what the future was. I look over, and for the first time in his life, in my life, I saw tension in his neck. I saw a jawline that wasn't smiling. I saw angst, and a man whose dreams and whose life was slipping away. Because here he was on a Saturday driving me to some whatever. He had no idea where we were going. And so he's trying to find the classical music on the radio, which he loved. We grew up in a classical music household. I see this disappointment, frustration, angst. I reach over and I turn the radio down and I look at him and I say, Dad, I am so grateful and appreciative for you driving me to this basketball game, Dad. And one day I'm going to pay you back, Dad. Because one day, Dad, I'm going to make it to the NBA, Dad. And I'm going to be the best player in the NBA, Dad. And when you're the best player in the NBA, Dad, they call you the most valuable player. And you're the best player that there is in the whole land. And Dad, guess what? When you're the most valuable player in the NBA, they give you a free car, Dad. And we had nothing, but we had everything. My parents, we lived on $5,000 a year when we were growing up. And so my dad, he hears me telling the story that I'm going to give him a free car, and he looks over at me and he turns back the radio up and he says, well, Billy, that's really nice, but tell me, what is this NBA you're talking about? When I saw Julia's Pride, I was with Julia and Zach last week and Matt down in Houston for the Final Four, where he got similar awards, and he was just the talk of everything in the future and how positive and bright it is. Basketball gave me, at the very beginning, hope, opportunity, and purpose. Over the last 62 years, I have added to hope, opportunity, and purpose, pride, loyalty, and gratitude. And the gratitude that I have for all of you folks. And so when my dad got that MVP car, my dad, who had glasses this thick, hearing aids in both ears, I can't believe the state of California would give this guy a driver's license, right? But he would get up every day in San Diego, where we're from and where we still live. Both my parents are passed. But he would get up, be 85, 90 degrees, perfect sun every single day. He would put on this red leather, garish monstrosity that they gave us for the NBA's all-time team at 50, right? And it was so outlandish of a coat that Snoop Dogg wouldn't even wear it in public, right? And so my dad would put that jacket on, go out and get in the MVP truck, which we were able to pick, and he wanted a pickup truck with a camper on the back. And he would drive around our hometown and just wave to all the people. And he was so proud and just beaming the same pride and joy that I see in Julia here. So as we go through that life of hope, opportunity, and purpose, and pride, loyalty, and gratitude, always acknowledge the people who have gone before us, who have built this city, this club. I mean, 1903, and then 1904, you got the Olympics here, and then you got all the people in my life who have made me who I am, who have been here so many different times. Yes, we talked about Bill Bradley, but we have to talk about Lewis and Clark, who came through here a little bit before that. And I remember Johnny Wooden telling the story, man, when they asked him, Coach, what did you miss in your life? And he said, gosh, it was, I was on the farm over there in Martinsville, and Lewis and Clark came by, and they were looking for one more man for the expedition. And my dad, Joshua, wouldn't let me go, and I was so mad. But then with Red Auerbach, we coached the Tri-City Hawks just up the way a bit. And then Bob Pettit, just the legend for all of us, and just absolutely incredible, a huge mentor and role model and friend for me. Lenny Wilkins, my first coach, and a guy who got the short end of the stick. And if you don't know Lenny Wilkins, please read his superb book, Unguarded, just absolutely spectacular. Lenny, quiet as can be, classy as can be, dignified as can be, smart as can be, but quiet and soft-spoken and understated, very much like me. But he writes this book, Unguarded, which it just lays it all out there. It's absolutely fantastic. What do you got?
Was John?
What's your name?
First of all,
what's your name?
He remembers every name, and I hang on every
your
word.
Name is Tom.
Yes, that's right.
You're like Tom Landry.
But
my older brother Bruce played for Tom.
You're a part of St. Louis history as well, and
you're Russian.
I want to get to that, but I want to go back to John Wooden. What made John Wooden so impactful? And let me go back to how he found you. Yeah,
I was trying to get there. And so, Lori, my wife, just the greatest everything ever, and the most beautiful girl in the world. And I'm the luckiest dude in the world that she was still there. She was still there when I left. We'll see about when I get home tomorrow. And now, when I say everything, I've been trying to find a better word than, because she's not a thing. She's a human being. She's a person. But she's the greatest everything ever in my life. And I'm alive today because, and you played the song, we will get by, we will survive. I am alive. I'm alive because of her, right? And so, and without a reason to believe that the effort it's going to take to get to tomorrow, if you don't have that reason to believe, you're not going to make it. And that's what this room is about. The empowerment, the enabling, the inspiring, and all these coaches and all these people who have come here tonight. And I met so many of them, and I want to particularly point out Collins. Collins, where are you? We can't see a thing. There's Collins up there, as cool a dude as I've ever met in my life. And then there, where was Neil Young? Neil Young showed up here tonight. Where's Neil? He already left. It was past his bedtime. He had to go back and tend to the garden. Homegrown is the stuff I want. And so, anyway, so John Wooden, yeah. I knew John Wooden for the last 43 years of his life. And 3 years when I was in high school, 4 years when I was his player, and then by far the best years were the 36 years after you stopped playing for him. Because as Mike and Shaka, Brooke, and any coach will tell you, you're not the player's friend. Your job is to make the players great at what they do. More importantly, make them great at who they are. And that was John Wooden, who was serious as can be. And so I was on the, I'm not like Shaka Smart. I did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. And so here it was. I didn't get a chance to play Division III basketball, right? And so here I was. I'm 15 years old. I'm 15 years old, and I'm already on the international stage, and I'm having the time of my life. It's 1967, and it's the Summer of Love in California, and I'd already been to my first Grateful Dead concert, and I am on my way, right? And all these coaches from everywhere. I mean, there were no rules in those days. Plus, there was no telephones, and there was no cameras. There was nothing, you know, and so every day, I'd come out of practice in high school in 15, San Diego, and there would be 15, 20 coaches standing there, right? Bill, come on, Bill, come to our school. We'll make you the most famous player ever. You know, you'll set all the records at our school. And Bill, tell your dad that we'll get him a new job. We know he's a working man. Your mom, the librarian, tell her that, we'll give her a shopping spree, get her a new set of jewelry and everything. And I'm looking at him. And then they said, oh, and Bill, here's the cheerleader's phone number. She's our closer out there, right? And I'm like, I'm 15 years old. And it's like, yeah, wow, let's go here. And just let your imagination run wild. And I used to think I had a vivid imagination. but some of the new guys have set new standards. And so then John Wooden walked into our family home, and he looked at me, and he looked at my parents. He said, Bill, Mr. and Mrs. Walton, I know what all the other schools are promising you. That's not the way life goes. There are no guarantees. The only thing I can promise you, Bill, is that I'll give you a chance to be part of something special. But to be a part of something special, like what you folks have right here in this city, in this club, that's a privilege, Bill, that you have to earn every single day. And then he turned it and he said, Bill, I've seen you play. You're going to be fine no matter what you do. But I'm here to tell you why you should come to UCLA. Because, Bill, you will learn over the course of your life, echoing the sentiments of every other coach and player up here tonight about the team. Coach Wooden said, because I was always facing the tormented conflict of being pushed, of being drawn into the world of individualism. Bill Russell's my hero. And I'm a team guy. And so Coach Wooden looked at me and said, Bill, your ultimate level of happiness, achievement, accomplishment, and success in life is not going to be based on you. It's going to be based on how good those people are right next to you, on either side of you. And that's why you make the choice to come to UCLA. Now, as I'm sitting up here your name is Tom, right? Okay. So I was John Wooden's easiest recruit. I became his worst nightmare. And I drove the poor guy to an early grave at 99. Because I always wanted to know why. Why I had to cut my hair, why I had to shave, why I had to wear the clothes he wanted me to wear, why Nixon was president, why we were in Vietnam, and why the cheerleaders couldn't be in my hotel room on the road trips, right? And Coach Wooden, who was an English teacher by profession, who happened to have young men under his athletic supervision in the afternoon, he was very patient, never more so than with me. And so this was his look. He would rest his chin on his thumb and put his index finger over his parsed lips. And he would listen, and he would listen, and he would finally have enough. And he would roll his eyes and wave his hands and say, Bill, it's all fine and good that you think that way, but I'm the coach here, and while we've enjoyed having you, we're going to miss you, Bill. And I never in 43 years changed his mind on anything. Now, it helps that everything he told us when we were in college, which none of us, particularly me, believed a word of it, it all came true later on. And when I was 21 before I ever encountered anyone who didn't have my best interest at heart. And then I joined the NBA, and everything changed. And I immediately realized what a tragic and terrible mistake I had made. So I immediately went back to Coach Wooden, and I apologized profusely, promised him that I would quit causing him grief and consternation, and I would do everything I could to make amends for all the problems and challenges and everything that I caused him. And he kind of rolled his eyes and said, well, we'll see about that. Talk is cheap, vision true, right? And so over the course of the next 36 years, we did everything together. Thousands of events. Events like this. Bar mitzvahs. We opened fire stations. Pizza parlors. We did birthday parties. car washes, you name it, we did it. And so one day we're doing a really big show. It's thousands and thousands of people. And people like the USBWA were all in the front row, were taking notes of everything we said. And Coach Wooden and I are going back and forth, and there was this one young guy in the front right there. He's got his big media badge on and everything, and he's like writing everything down. And it goes to the Q&A, and Coach Wooden always moderated the Q&A, right? And he only picked on the pretty ladies to ask the questions. And this one guy was just dying to get in the whole time. And then the moderator, the Wally, or who's running the show over here, Brent, I don't know, he comes up to Coach Wooden and whispers in his ear one more question. And so Coach Wooden announces one more question. And now Coach Wooden is not like me. He's not going to stay around at the end. I'm closing this place down tonight, folks. My plane's not tomorrow till 9 o'clock in the morning. And that, for me, is an eternity away. And so Coach Wooden announces one more question, and everybody's put, Coach, call on me, call on me. And this guy's down here begging, right? Coach never looks at him. Never looks at him at all. But like any great player, and Coach Wooden was the first of the great players, he had incredible peripheral vision, which he was able to teach and pass on to us. And so as he's looking around to try to pick, and this guy's jumping up and down, Coach Wooden finally comes back and says, young man, what is your question? And the guy stands up, and just by looking at him, you could tell he was just way too young, that there was no way he was there in the 60s and the 70s when all this stuff went down, right? And so he says, Coach Wooden, were you really going to kick Bill Walton off the team because he wasn't going to cut his hair, because he wasn't going to shave, because he wasn't going to wear the clothes you wanted him to wear? Coach Wooden sat up extra straight, looked at me, looked back at the guy, looked at the crowd, and came right back and said, hey, the only thing that matters is that Bill thought I was going to kick him off the team. And I did. And there was nothing more important than being on the team. And so every one of these coaches, every one of you business leaders out here, as you create the culture, you are the leaders that make people just so anxious to want to get to the event, get to practice, get to the game, and let's get this thing going and not wait over on the sideline for 2 or 3 hours. Man, there's like a double header, maybe even a triple header. What were the rules of the new baseball leagues, right? Speed this thing up a little bit here. And so here it was. There was nothing that I was willing to do to jeopardize my position on that team. That's how special it was that we had. And it was such a joy, such a grand celebration of life. And to be here and to live that all again, and then to see the parents and the coaches and the players and everything, just, I'm the luckiest dude in the world. And what was your name again?
Tom. 50 years ago, Bill, 1973, UCLA, Memphis State.
Yeah, we won that game.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, man, that was...
Bill Walton, 21 of 22 from the floor, 44 points.
Yeah, but Coach Wooden, after the game, said, Walton, I used to think you were a good player till you missed that one shot. And he said that to me every day. He never forgot. He had the most incredible memory ever. And he could tell stories or recite poetry. And for those of you who like poetry, one of his favorite poems, and for the teachers and the leaders and the coaches who are here today, the poem that I was talking to, is it to Rebecca, who's the coach of SLU Women? Yeah, so Rebecca, we talked about Coach Wooden and his love of poetry. And he could recite poetry endlessly, perfectly, flawlessly. And one of the poems that he loved so much was, they ask me why I teach. And the refrain is an incredibly long poem, which he could deliver perfectly. The refrain at the end of each stanza, they ask me why I teach, where else could I find such splendid company? And that is what this gathering is all about. And that opportunity to come together, to reflect, to learn from yesterday, to dream about tomorrow. But as Shaka was saying, as Mike Brey was saying, make today your masterpiece. And so here was this guy, John Wooden, who he was relentless in his teaching. And he always, he was the most organized person. I'm the most disorganized person. Lori describes my mind as being like a slot machine. We were on tour with the Grateful Dead in Las Vegas, right? And she looked at me in the middle of, in the middle of the other one, some just crazy, wild song, just everything going out of this universe. And she looked at me and she said, I finally figured you out, big guy. Your mind is like a slot machine and all these different wheels just turning, right? And then it locks up and then you go again. And so here I am. And it was just absolutely remarkable what Coach Wooden could do, because he was relentless in teaching us how to build our own personal foundation, because he knew from personal experience that the strength of the team is the strength of the individual. And his job was to make us great individual players that were committed to the team. And so he had his pyramid of success, those 15 words: human values, attributes, industriousness, enthusiasm, friendship, loyalty, cooperation, intentness, initiative, alertness, self-control, physical fitness, skill development, commitment to the team, poise, confidence, competitive greatness. That's 15 of them. But then he realized a couple years later that he left words out. But
pyramid.
Isosceles had already defined the shape of the pyramid. He couldn't change it to a parallelogram to add more room, right? Because only 15 blocks fit in there. So he added them as clouds. Now, we finally had rain in California this year for the first time in a lot of people's lives, right? So they don't know what clouds are. But this year we had it, and we survived for one more year with the water. We'll be coming here to ship water to California pretty soon. They'll be digging a canal from the Mississippi here, or maybe the headwaters of the Missouri.
I have one of the pyramids in my office. I wanted to ask you.
I'm not done yet. I was finishing.
I know.
Up with him.
So
he also had his. I'm almost done.
Okay.
He had his 7-point creed, which his dad Joshua gave to him when he was in high school. Make each day your masterpiece. Drink deeply from all sources of knowledge. Make friendship a fine art. When you find yourself in times of trouble, make sure you're prepared for the difficult times that are sure to come. And that requires you to be supporting members of the Missouri Athletic Club. And then a bunch of others that I can't remember, but I have no memory. I haven't been to enough shows on the Grateful Dead tour. They're having their final tour this summer, 31 shows. Lori and I are scheduled for 20 of them. We'll be out there. But then Coach Wooden had his 2 sets of 3s. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Don't whine, don't complain, don't make excuses. That covers a lot of ground. And then he had his endless maxims. Be quick but don't hurry. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Happiness begins when selfishness ends. Never mistake activity for achievement. The worst things you can do for the ones you love are the things they could and should do for themselves. When everybody thinks alike, nobody thinks. It's okay to disagree, just don't be disagreeable. And then the one that he wrote to me on the day I graduated, June 1974 from UCLA. To Bill Walton, it's the things you learn after you know it all that count. John Wooden. That sits on my desk to this very day. But as we salute the College Player of the Year, the Oscar Robertson Player of the Year, those of us who know Oscar, those of us who have seen Oscar, those of us who live with Oscar, and what an incredible honor this is for Zach. But Coach Wooden also wrote a maxim that describes Zach and describes Tanaya and any other great player. Basketball, like life, is not a game of size and strength. It's a game of skill, timing, and position. It's not how big you are, it's how big you play. It's not how high you jump, it's where you are and when you jump. And I'm scratching my head, which is why I'm bald today, because I never stopped scratching my head. None of this made any sense. So I looked at the guy and said, Coach, you can't really believe that. Because this comes right back now to what Malcolm talked about at the beginning. What would Coach Wooden say about NIL? I know what Jerry Garcia would say about it. We used to play for silver, now we play for life. But when Coach Wooden would tell us, it's not how big you are, it's how big you play, I scratched my head and said, Coach, you can't believe this to be true. Come on. Kareem, he has all the records, or at least he did until February. And then Shaq, he's got all the money. And then Wilt has 20,000 girlfriends. So what is up with that? And Coach Wooden looked at me and said, Walton, you're the slowest learner I've ever had. Don't you realize it's not about stuff? It's not about material accumulation. It's not about physical gratification. It's about training the mind to be the champion in whatever it is you do forevermore. But that requires you to live a life of sacrifice, discipline, and honor. And the sacrifice comes in when you have to sacrifice your ego, your individual goals, dreams, aspirations for the betterment of the team. And when we get to that point, we're all going to be better off in our world. Now, what was your name again?
I'm Tom. I have a Grateful Dead question, but
Yeah.
two things that we have in common. We're both college basketball broadcasters, and I really, really want to do a game with him at some point.
Well, set your standards high.
But secondly,
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
I have ruined more careers than anyone. The list of coaches that were fired because my feet were always broken.
We're good. We're good. You're my
I had
man.
so much trouble.
But
I did not know how to play in the game of life.
Grateful Dead question. Grateful Dead question.
Suffering when the pros came. I was always suffering from undiagnosed stress fractures that they could never figure out.
That is
they
true.
didn't believe that I was hurt. And then, basketball was the easiest part of my life by far. Academics were second. Straight A student the whole way through. My challenge is orthopedic health. I was born with birth defects. I've had 39 orthopedic operations. I spent half my adult life in the hospital. Both my ankles are fused. Both my knees are replaced. My hands and wrists don't work. My spine has been completely rebuilt. That's all bolted together here. And look at my face. I had my nose broken 14 times. I had my teeth knocked out 10 different times. For those of you still lucky enough to play basketball, don't play defense with your face because this is what happens to you, right? And so here it was. I'm chasing the dream, but that dream got derailed in my body, like all of yours, including yours and Tanaya. It will fail you at some point along the way. Mine just failed me way too early.
But you become.
It always is that way.
But you become one of the great broadcasters in the game.
My biggest challenge in life, God, you're really good at cutting me off, man.
I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, man. Watch out, man. That elbow's coming in. It's like Kareem's elbow on the sky hook, right? And so my biggest challenge is the fact that I'm a lifelong stutterer. And I could not say a word until I was 28 years old. I could not say hello. I could not say thank you. Learning how to speak is my greatest accomplishment in life and your worst nightmare. And so I'm the luckiest dude in the world. Somebody taught me, Marty Glickman, read his book, Fastest Kid on the Block, watch his HBO movie, Glickman. Incredible story, Olympic related. In life, you have performance, which is what got everybody here, but to keep us going, it always ends in the ability to be resilient. And here I was, I'm lying in a hospital bed on March 15th, 1990, in Whittier, California, Nixon's hometown, Nixon, the Prince of Darkness, right? And here I am. I made a conscious decision in my life to go to Nixon's hometown to have a life-saving ankle fusion surgery. And that was my 30th operation. The first 29 were a piece of cake. It was all about me getting back out there and playing the game I loved. But this 30th one, man, this was tough. This was ankle fusion. They take a big electric saw and cut all the ends of the bones off in your foot and ankle, take this big, massive, bleeding ball of bone, push it all together, hold it at a right angle. Somebody else comes by with a power drill and bolts it all together just so I could come here to the Missouri Athletic Hub on April 12th, 2023, and be part of this grand celebration of the future, right? And so I know for the first time I'm never going to play again. I need perfectly level ground. I need a chair everywhere I go. And I got tears just streaming down my cheek because I love to play basketball. And one of the things I loved the most was yelling at the refs, "Come on, ref, make a call, will you? Go back to Foot Locker where you belong." or the coaches. 6 of my coaches are in the Hall of Fame. And I'm up and down that court. "Come on, Wooden, give me some players out here. I'm tired of doing this all by myself." Right? And that's never going to happen again. And so through the sadness and the loneliness and the desperation of what am I going to do next, the lightning bolt, flash of inspiration sears across the smoking crater that's my mind. And I just go, hey, I got it. I'm 6'11". I got red hair, big nose, freckles, goofy, nerdy looking face. I can't talk and I'm a deadhead. Been to over 1,000 Grateful Dead concerts. Television is the only career possibility for me. And they looked at me and they said, "No, get out of here. When you look like this, you get nothing but no." Thankfully, Lori said yes once, and I haven't let her out of arm's reach since. And so when I first made that commitment and decision, I could not get a job. He looked at me, "No, Walt, you're going to start spitting and stuttering all over everything, and everybody's sorry for the people in the front row. I should have warned you beforehand, or at least move my chair back." And then they said, "After you're stuttering and spitting all over everything and everyone, you're going to start talking about Jerry Garcia and Bob Dylan and Neil Young, who came to the show here tonight." And And we just can't have that, so get out of here. So I could not get a job at all. And that's when John Wooden, all the tools to overcome the adversity, the motivation, the balance, the quickness, the creative imagination, the empathy, the sympathy, the confidence, and then the persistence, the perseverance, and the sacrifice and discipline to get the job done. And I finally got my first broadcasting job. It made no difference to me, although it did to Lori and the children, that it was a CBA minor league basketball game on Christmas Day for no pay. The team and the entire league were folding the next day, but yeah, I was broadcasting, right? And I chased that dream. I chased that dream for 18 years, and I made it all the way to the top. And it was fantastic. I loved it. And then on February 24th, 2008, February 24th, 2008, my spine failed. I had broken my back in college, and I lived with these bad feet. Because in life, you know, you guys who were builders and construction guys, whatever, foundation is everything. And I had a faulty foundation. And so here I was, my spine finally failed, spent the next 4.5 years on the ground, was going to kill myself. The award back there that Michelle was kind enough to give to the St. Louis University player, I believe, can't remember his name.
Terrence Hargrove.
Terrence, yeah. My good buddy Terrence, yeah. And so, you know, I was going to kill myself if I had a gun because life was not worth living. But here I am today, and I'm now 14 years past my surgery, and I'm doing fantastic, and I've never been busier, never been better off, and I'm ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What was your question? What was your question?
My last thing, I just had a comment about the Grateful Dead.
Yeah,
and David,
I love the Grateful Dead.
David Crosby once said that the Grateful Dead is like 4 streaming melodies at once. The Grateful Dead is that.
Oh, it's more than that. It's 6 or 7.
That's what he said. He said 4.
Well, he had some hearing problems, and he had some other challenges too.
But my question is why, and I'm going to close with this, is that it's become such a big part of your life.
It is my life. I am who I am because of the Grateful Dead.
Exactly.
I am who I am because of this room. I am who I am because of Malcolm and because of Brendan and because of Mike Brey and because of my belief in the future with Tanaya and Brooke and then with Zach and his mom. They already left, man. They're out of here. And then Shaka. The Grateful Dead, they wrote a song about me. Yeah, wherever he goes, the people all complain. Yeah. So, but it's a heck of a song, man. In and out of the garden. The question was, why the Grateful Dead?
Yes.
So I found the Grateful Dead when I was 15. Heard on the radio. It was the advent of FM radio. The DJ goes, hey, boys and girls, the last band you just heard in that jam, from a new band. They call themselves the Grateful Dead. They're from San Francisco. And I'm told that they had a concert last weekend in San Francisco, and so many people showed up that everybody got in free. And I'm also told, boys and girls, that the Grateful Dead are going to have a concert in Los Angeles. So we lived in San Diego. We're going to have a concert in Los Angeles this weekend. And I'm telling you, boys and girls, if enough of you boys and girls go, I bet you get in free too. And that's all we needed, because we didn't have any money. Nobody had a driver's license. We're 15 years old. But one of the guy's parents, they were out of town, and they had left the car keys, right? And so we had no money. We had just the clothes we had on our back. We had no idea where we were going. There was no advertisement where the show was going to be. We just go up to LA and we start driving around, and nobody had a map or anything. We just started seeing all these cool people like Neil Young, who was here tonight, like Collins here, and we said, that's where we're going. And we followed them. That's where the show was. We got in free. I got to the front of the stage, and I've never left. And it was incredible to this very day. The happiness, the joy, the hope, the optimism, the peace, the love, the smiles, and it's just absolutely fantastic. And while the roster has changed over the years, the music and the culture and the people and the fun, it continues unrelenting. And we'll be out there on tour. And when this show is over here tonight, when they finally kick me off the stage, and when they turn off my microphone, I'm going downstairs to the Jack Buck Grill.
Let's go.
And drinks are on Brent. Drinks are on Brent, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3-time Oscar Robertson Trophy winner, Bill Walton.
I got one more. One more. Okay. Who here has ever been to a Jimmy Cliff concert, a celebration of life and love like you've never seen before? That's right. So Jimmy puts on this incredible show, all these fabulous songs, and then the crowd wants more and more and more, so they chant one more, one more. So he wrote a song called One More. So I'm going to just leave you with one song, with one story here. I'm not going to sing the song. I'm just going to tell you one more story. I told the story of NBA at 50 today at lunch. This is the story of NBA 75. And here I was on the road doing another show. And I'm in Houston, and it's late at night. The show is over. And I go back and I turn on my computer to check what I missed that day. And on the computer, the NBA had announced its top 75 players of all time. Yo, in the back. If you want to talk, go down to Jack Buck's Grill, okay? Yeah, okay. So I turn on my computer late at night in Houston, and I see it right there. NBA's all-time team, and my name is on the list. I can't sleep all night. It just doesn't get any better than something like this unless you're at the Missouri Athletic Club. And so, I wake up in the morning. I don't sleep much. You might have trouble believing that. And so I wake up, my mind is already racing, and I'm fired up, man. And that life of pride, loyalty, and gratitude. Pride, the satisfaction with our choices, the loyalty, do we care, and then the gratitude. That just comes and sits in a cloud of light over my head. And I'm on my way to the airport. And I call the Blazers, my first team, and I'm thanking them, man. Thank you for my life. Thank you for the opportunity and the privilege, because I had the most incredible platform with Maurice Lucas from Marquette, Jack Ramsey, and all the different players, Lionel and Johnny and Dave and Bobby and the Blazer Maniacs. And so I thank the Blazers. I hang up. The next call is to Steve Ballmer and the Clippers. If Donald Sterling had still owned the team, I never would have called. But I called Steve Ballmer and I said, Steve, thanks so much for allowing my dreams to come true. Thanks for empowering me. Thanks for enabling me. And then I called the Celtics. And I'm talking to the Celtics and I'm telling them, I can never thank you enough, man. This honor, 75 greatest players of all time. I just can't even believe it. And then I say, so tell me, how many, there's 75 greatest players of all time. Tell me how many of them are Celtics. And without hesitation, the guy said, Bill, 20 of the top 75 players of all time are Boston Celtics. Correct me, all you CFOs, correct me if my numbers are right, but that's 26%, I believe, of the all-time NBA team are Boston Celtics. Then I'm saying goodbye or pulling up to the airport, and I say as my last question, okay, 20 Celtics on the NBA's all-time team. How many fakers on the all-time team? And without hesitation, without a moment's doubt or uncertainty, the guy leans into his phone and he says, I don't know and I don't care, goodbye. And that's how special it was to be on the Boston Celtics. The only thing that has been better in my life is to come to the Missouri Athletic Club. Thank you very much. We'll see you at Jack Buck's Grill.
Let's go to the
Sometime
Jack Buck
the
Grill.
light's all shining on me. Here we go.